Welcome back. So today we're going to be working with 6.2, which is the bisectors of triangles. So you should have 3 different papers that you got for handouts. The first one is this yellow one, and that goes on page 131 in your notebook. 131, that's the yellow one. The next one is your doodle notes. This goes on page 133 in your notebook, page 133. And then the last one is some constructions, and these are going to go on page 132 and 134. We're actually going to cut each of these out and put those at the top of the page, and then we're going to do the construction down below. All right, so we're going to start here with our doodle notes. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on this a little bit so it's easier to see. So again, this goes on page 133 in your notebook. So we're going to start with the idea of an end-center. So an end-center is the intersection point of the angle bisectors. Okay, of 3 vertices of your triangle. So what's going to happen is we're going to take the angle bisectors of all 3 vertices, and where that intersects is going to be our end center. The end center is also the center of the circle that would be inscribed in the triangle. So we're going to sketch that circle. All right, so let's go here to our triangle that we have, and we are actually going to find the bisector of each of these. So a couple different ways that we can do that. One is you can actually measure each of those angles. Okay, that would be one way to do it. Another way that we can do it is using our patty paper that we've had before. So that's actually the method that I'm going to use, is I'm going to use a piece of patty paper, and I'm going to trace my triangle onto the patty paper. So then when I take that off, I have this nice triangle here. So it said the angle bisector. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to match up this side with this side of my triangle. So I'm going to fold these so that those line up straight on top of each other. So if you hold that up to the light, you should be able to line those up so that they line straight up on top of each other. And then I'm just going to press that down so that I have that intersection on here. And then I'm actually going to take my straight edge and I'm just going to mark that so it's a little bit easier to see. Okay, so I just marked where I folded there. I'm going to do the same thing with all 3 corners. So again, I'm going to match up this side with this side. So I'm going to go ahead and fold my patty paper so that those line up straight on top of each other. Okay, so my fold should go through the corner, and then when I open it up, it should be going through the corner, and it's going to bisect that angle. Then I'm just going to draw that line again. Now I have the next one. Okay, so then the last one over here, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to fold so this side lines up with the far side. Line those up on top of each other. So once I have those lined up, I'm going to open that up. And I'm just going to trace that line so that it's a little easier for everyone to see. So there's my line. Okay, so you can see there's one single intersection here. So this point right here, that is my in-center. That is my in-center. So then if I come back over here to this page, you'll notice that where I marked my spot should be lined up with where they have the dot on our paper. There's a really faint dot there. So I'm actually just going to mark that again where I found that in-center to be. Okay, so that's my center. So they said that the in-center is also the center of the circle that would be inscribed in the triangle. So what that means is it's inside. Inscribed means that the edges of my circle are going to touch the sides of this triangle. So I'm going to center here. I'm using my pencil. And we're just making the one that's in the center there. Okay, so you can see our sides touch here. And I apologize, mine was a little bit off, so I had to go over it again there. So that is my in-center. The center of that is also the center of the circle that is inscribed in there. Okay, so then we have over here on the left-hand side it says the in-center is always inside the circle. It is always inside of our circle. Okay. Then we have up here at the top, when a triangle is equilateral, all the centers will be at the same point. So as we go through these different centers, we have in-center, circumcenter, we have a centroid that we're going to talk about later, as well as an orthocenter. So when we have an equilateral triangle, all of the centers will be at the same point. So then you have a try it here. How to find the in-center. You're going to bisect each angle and extend the angle bisectors. You're going to find the point where the three angle bisectors meet. So you're going to make your own triangle and do this. Okay, so we're actually going to do that with our constructions. So we're going to take this page here, and we're actually going to cut these two apart. So I want the bottom one, which has 4 pieces. That's the one that I want first. That's going to go on page 134. 134. So in my notebook, I'm going to be looking on page 134. Let me zoom out just a little bit here so you can see my whole page. So I'm on page 134. So this is actually going to go on that page. You can tape it in or you can glue it in, whichever you have available to you. I'm just going to tape it in for right now, and then I'll glue it later. So we're going to do this construction that it asked us to try. All right, so first thing that we're going to do with our straight edge is we are going to draw a triangle. Draw a triangle. Yours does not have to look exactly like mine. We're just drawing a triangle. And you can notice from my picture, this is a nice big triangle. I'm not making some little teeny tiny triangle. I'm making a nice big triangle because I want to actually be able to work with this easily. Okay, I am going to label my vertices. So I have A, B, and C. And we're going to go through these 4 steps. So it says first we're going to draw a bisector. We're going to draw the angle bisector of angle A. The angle bisector of angle A. So if you remember when we were doing constructions before, in order to do an angle bisector, we made an arc. And then from here, from our arc, we went about 2/3 of the way across, and we made another arc. Using that same measurement, going from the other angle, and now we're going to draw that nice line. Okay, so this is using the steps that we talked about earlier this year with finding an angle bisector. Okay, so we made an arc. Then we went from one side about 2/3 of the way across and made another arc using that same measurement. We did it again from this bottom corner. Where those two intersect, we connected it with A. Okay, we're going to do the same thing for B. You can erase these other pencil marks if you want to. I'm going to leave mine. So from B, I'm going to center at B. I'm just going to make an arc that crosses my two rays. So now from here, I'm going to make an arc going about 2/3 the way across here. I'm going to use that same measurement and make another arc so that they intersect. So I see my intersection point is here. So from there, I'm going to go through B. That's my angle bisector. I'm going to do the same thing for C. So centering at C, I'm going to make another arc. From there, about 2/3 of the way across, I'm going to make an arc using that same measurement from the other intersection point. Now where those connect, I'm going to draw to C. So I've got several lines in here, so I want to make sure I'm using the right one. Oh, there we go. I was wanting to use the wrong one there. That's why I said sometimes it's easier if you erase those extra little arc marks, so it makes it a little easier for you to be able to find where they intersect. So then I've got my intersection point here. I'm actually going to use colored pen here so I can mark that. So from there, that's going to be the center of my circle. So I'm going to center my compass. Centering my compass on that center there. I'm going to go all the way around, and now I have my circle that is inscribed in my triangle. My circle is inscribed. So when I was finding this, when I centered it up here, and then I just had to find the measurement that lined up and was equidistant away from all of those sides there. And then that was how I found my circle to go around. Okay. All right, so then from there, we're going to come back to this one. And we're going to do the bottom one, which is our circumcenter. This one is our circumcenter. So on this one, the circumcenter is the intersection point of the perpendicular bisectors. We just talked about those in the last unit. So it is the intersection point of the perpendicular bisectors of the sides, the three sides. Okay, so the circumcenter is equidistant from all three vertices. The distance is the radius of the circle. Okay, the circumcenter is also the center of the circle that this triangle could be inscribed within. Okay, and we're going to try sketching that. Okay, so that's our try it, is we're actually going to sketch one that is now around the outside. Okay, so that's going to be on page 132. If you look on this paper that you had, we're going to use the top one, and that's page 132 in your notebook. So we're going to use the top one. Here. So that one just has the 3 steps. Okay, so for this one, we're going to sketch a triangle again. So I'm just going to make a nice big triangle again. I've got a nice big triangle that I'm working with here. So then from here, this time it says we're going to draw a bisector, a perpendicular bisector. So if you remember, we've got A, B, and C. When we were doing our perpendicular bisectors for a segment before, we said we're going to go 2/3 of the way across. And we're going to make this nice big arc. And you can see I'm making mine really light. So from here, I'm going to do the same thing. Sorry, I forgot which measurement I had used. I want to make sure I use the right one. So same measurement here, making my nice big arc again. This is the one that looks like the football. Okay, so now we're going to take that intersection point with our straight edge. And I'm going to make the perpendicular bisector. So there's my perpendicular bisector. So I'm going to do the same thing for all 3 sides. So now over here for BC, I'm going to come over to B. I want to go about 2/3 of the way across. I'm going to make my really light pencil mark of my football. Centering at C, I'm going to use that same measurement. Make my light marks. And then with my straight edge, I'm just going to connect those. And I'm going to make a nice dark line for my perpendicular bisector. That's my perpendicular bisector there. Last one is going to be AC, so centering at A, coming over here to C. So this time, we'll use this one. Using the same mark again. Oh, that one got a little bit too big, so I'm going to have to use a smaller mark. Use this one here. Well, this is the same one I had used before, so that will work. Then C. So again, we just have to use that same measurement for both sides. It doesn't matter what that measurement was. And then we're going to connect using our straight edge and make that a nice dark line. And that's perpendicular here. So now you can see my 3 perpendicular bisectors. There's my point of intersection. So then from here it says we're going to make a circle that goes on the outside. So that means to each one of these vertices, I want to find the measurement that's going to get me to each one of those corners. Going around here. Looks like I'm just a little bit off there, so I want to double check my measurement here. And make that circle just a little bit better. All right, that one looks a little bit better. We just needed to scoot that in just a tiny little bit so that it hit all three of our corners. Okay? All right, so then coming back over here to our doodle notes. So then the last piece here is we are going to use that patty paper one more time. So we're going to use that patty paper again, and I'm just going to trace my triangle again. So again, this is just another way to find our circumcenter. So I'm just tracing my triangle on my patty paper. So then from here, since we want the perpendicular bisector, so I'm going to match corner to corner. So I'm just going to fold my patty paper and match those up corner to corner. I'm going to do that for all three sides. So I'm matching up all three sets from corner to corner. Then when you open those up, you should be able to see where those three lines, let me kind of zoom in just a little bit here so maybe it's a little easier to see those. So then I could take with my patty paper and I can see where all three of those intersect, and I can draw that point of intersection, and that is my circumcenter. So then if we look here on the paper, sorry, let me zoom back out just a little bit there for you. So if we look here on the paper, you can see this light colored dot, and that should actually line up with the one that we just found folding our paper. Okay, so then what we're going to do here is we're going to center our compass. Just like we were doing with our constructions, we're going to center our compass there. And for mine, it actually looks as though this outside piece is exactly where I need it to be. So I'm just going to trace my circle that way. I'll shift this around just a tiny bit so I can get the rest of my circle. If you have one of the other compasses, this works a little bit better. This one's just the wrong size for this type of compass. So then we have our circle there that goes around and is touching all of those corners. Okay? All right. So then the last piece that I want to look at, if you look at this yellow paper, zoom out just a little bit more here. So on this yellow paper, we're just going to be dealing with these first two blanks for today. Just going to be dealing with those first two for today. So we're just going to fill in some of the information here. So we said circumcenter. That was created by perpendicular bisectors. Okay, so important facts. The circumcenter is equidistant from each vertex of the triangles. So AM equals BM equals CM in our picture up here. Okay, our in-center, this one was created by our angle bisectors. So some important facts to remember about that one. The in-center is equidistant from each side. It's equidistant from each side of the triangle, so that means XM equals YM equals ZM. Okay, so if you look up here in the picture, XM equals YM equals ZM. All right, that is all I have for you today. I know this one was a little bit longer because we had those constructions in there. This one goes on page 131 in your notebook. All right, that's all I have for you today. Have a great day. Bye.